Hello, YNABers. My name is Jesse Meekum, and this is podcast number 452 for YNAB, where we teach you 4 rules to help you stop living paycheck to paycheck, get out of debt, and save more money. I want to harken back to my accounting days and talk to you a little bit about a very basic principle that is in the managerial side of accounting. So either fall asleep or hop along for the ride. In product accounting, when you're accounting for various products, the most crucial metric that you look at, if like say you're a Walmart or a Lowe's or whatever, and you've got all these products, or even if you're just a solo product kind of shop, the thing you look at most is what they call the contribution margin. So if you were YNAB, you would say what you pay for YNAB is the revenue less any costs that are directly associated to the creation of that product. That is the contribution. Or contribution margin. So you've got price, sale, the receipt of the good, what you actually get from a customer, less the costs that it takes to produce that revenue directly for that product. After you have the contribution margin, then you look at all of the other overhead, all of the other expenses, the rent for the office, the salary for the administrative staff, running the AC, taxes, name your thing. It just goes on and on and on. It can totally vary by business. But the key is that the contribution margin must cover its share of the overhead. Now, there's also this idea of mental margin, and 2020 has been less than stellar. So I was thinking through what we might draw from a lesson in managerial accounting and apply that to our own lives. When you think through what you do day to day and like what your top line means of production is, so your job, like top priority, you might say my work, my family, my community, where you're primarily active in things, that you could see that as like your revenue, the biggest thing, the most important thing. And then you would say, what are the things that what are the energies that I have to expend in order to have my family the way I would like it, my relationships, which is really family, the way you would like it, what could I expend to have my career go the way I would like it? And so you still have this output that you want of relationship quality or career trajectory or name your thing, but it's your highest priority desire, those things that you want. And then you have the things that you outlay, those expenses, in order to create those relationships, that career trajectory. Again, name your thing. What we're really talking about is top life priorities that you're very, very clear on, and then the things that you have to give, what you have to expend in order to see those top life priorities realized. And whenever you have a problem in business where you're saying, I don't know what's going on here, we're selling this t-shirt. Oh, it's fitting since we just had our first annual swag sale. We're selling this t-shirt for $18. The t-shirt costs us $20 to make directly. I don't know what's going on here. Well, you have a negative contribution margin. There could be things in your life that are actually in the mental margin space costing you. And if we're looking for contribution margin, you're looking for fat space there. You're looking for all kinds of room to maneuver where you say, you know what? My job pays me this. Think about it a little more abstractly. I give all of this. But then contribution margin is that top line piece. After that, we look at all of the fixed costs associated with every other aspect of it. And I would say one massive fixed cost of 2020 is, the pandemic, upheaval, a vicious news cycle, uncertainty. It goes on and on. Now, life, as I say often, if you don't have any stress, you need to check for a heartbeat. Life is that overhead. So we can't control necessarily all of that fixed overhead. We can't control that aspect of it. What we really can only control is that contribution margin portion of this P&L that I'm now calling life. So when I look for, is this viable in business or in life, you're really saying, I have this top priority and I need to expend this in order to realize it. Is that even doable? Will that cover the rest of my fixed costs, those things that you can't really control? So if you really want to brush up on this in a real way, you would pick up a managerial accounting book. But the idea is you choose what your top priorities are, where you're going to make that top line money, that revenue. And you also need to be very clear on what you are personally expending in order to realize those priorities. That margin needs to be able to support bearing the rest of the costs of life that we all just have honestly sometimes thrown at us with malevolence. I think that's it for today. Did we even talk about budgeting? No, but I tied it into money in a kind of stretched way. Be clear on what those top priorities are and be clear on what kind of efforts you're having to make in order to realize those. Sometimes you need to retool what your product is. Other times you need to cut costs mercilessly. Make sure you're being efficient and effective in what you're doing to actually produce those results. Until next time, follow YNAB's 4 rules and you will win financially. You've never budgeted like this.